Well, the typical ignorance of the U.S. Constitution and of scientific uncertainty was on display this past weekend as Fox News' Chris Wallace and other pop media cud chewers appeared aghast by Donald Trump saying he wouldn't mandate masks on Americans. Could it be Wallace and his slack-jawed, big salaried media friends are that ignorant that they actually thought the president had that constitutional and moral authority? Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. Likely anyone with an interest in the U.S. Constitution and the deeper threads of liberty already figured this one out. Most old guard media figures are either extremely ignorant of the national rules or they simply don't care. And that was on display over the weekend when President Trump told Fox News' Chris Wallace that he would not impose a national mask mandate as part of his response to COVID-19.
No, I want people to have a certain freedom, and I don't believe in that, no.
Which is nice of Trump to say, since he, like everyone else in D.C. and every state government as well, has absolutely no constitutional or moral authority to issue such a command, and is, in fact, prohibited from doing so according to all that crazy thing, the Bill of Rights. Now, a few media figures understand this fact. In fact, when segments of the Trump interview reached the public on July 17th, Fox News' Laura Ingraham tweeted this: "Outrage! President Trump said he wouldn't do a national mask mandate. By what possible legal authority could the president order everyone to wear masks?" And Laura nailed it. But Mr. Wallace appears to be less cognizant of the Constitution that Trump swore to protect and defend, or, as noted before, perhaps he doesn't care. For in their interview, the entirety of which was broadcast Sunday, July 19th, Wallace fervently pressed the question of whether the president would issue such a mandate.
Do you regret not wearing a mask in public from the start? And will you consider a national mandate that people need to wear masks?
How long has this guy been working in this field? His dad was in the field? Dad must be so proud, Chris. Jeez. Memo to Mr. Wallace. Trump can't do that, so why even ask if he'll consider it? If you really wanted to investigate the issue, you could say something along the lines of, what do you have to say to those people who want a national mask mandate? Or, Chris, you could say, I was reading my handy-dandy pocket constitution and I couldn't find any enumerated power in it that allows you to mandate mask wearing. Am I reading the wrong set of national rules? Well, sadly, Mr. Wallace didn't take that approach. He also didn't put a lot of thought into something else he mentioned on Fox when they teased the interview. Avoiding the constitutional barrier to a mandate while speaking to Bret Baier on July 17th, Wallace referred to new cases of COVID-19.
The whole question, the president arguing that a lot of that is because of more testing.
I like Bret Baier. He's pretty cool. Chris Wallace is okay. I mean, generally speaking, but sometimes he is insufferable sometimes. And in that classic pop media game of fake gotcha, Wallace engaged in his own form of ex post facto debate, taking something Trump said and offering his own retort.
But while testing is up 37%, the new cases are up by 193%, which would seem to indicate the virus is actually spreading.
The trouble is that Wallace, like many of his pop media comrades, is guilty of the same error he implies is evident in Trump's answer. He neglects to mention another huge source of false cases, stemming from the federal government and various state governments literally incentivizing medical workers to list as positive those who have not actually shown positive for COVID-19 at all. As I've reported previously, and as video evidence from Texas confirms, healthcare workers have been told to list what they think could be probable COVID-19 cases as actual cases.
Up until now, a positive lab test counted as a positive case. According to the new criteria, anyone who had close contact with a confirmed COVID-19 patient and has 2 symptoms can be considered a probable COVID-19 case.
And the federal government reimburses hospitals more if they list patients as COVID-19 confirmations, even if they are not COVID-19 cases. And by the way, there's nothing in the Constitution that lets the feds reimburse medical centers for services unless perhaps Congress has declared war and the medical centers are handling soldiers or something for that war. But regardless, even if the cases are increasing, and again, this is literally impossible to know, the fatality rate of COVID-19 is near that of the seasonal flu. Since at any given time, a certain cadre of the American populace is going to be immunocompromised, will Wallace ask every president he interviews if he or she will mandate masks every year? The infantilism of this line of questioning is remarkable, but it's not as remarkable as those who insist that others wear N95 masks even when they cannot back up their demands with real studies to show that such masks are effective.
Hey, Dr. Fauci said don't wear a mask. Our Surgeon General, terrific guy, said don't wear a mask. Everybody was saying don't wear a mask. All of a sudden, everybody's got to wear a mask.
These would be studies that might tilt the balance in favor of the myth that a mask designed to stop 95% of particles that are 0.3 microns or larger can stop a virus that is 0.1 micron in size. And studies that would also have to counter the darker side. Something that Trump correctly noted to Wallace, that for some people, the masks are harmful. As reporter Ben Swan has noted,
if we set aside feelings and we just look at facts, what do the facts say about wearing a face mask? What does science say about face masks and whether or not they prevent the spread of viruses like COVID-19? Believe it or not, there have been a number of studies that have been done over the past decade. One in 2009, 2010, 2012, 2016, 2017, 2019, and yes, even this year in 2020. A number of controlled studies have been done that look at this very issue, whether or not wearing medical face masks with N95 respirators in them, and whether or not wearing cloth masks actually reduce the risk of a virus.
I find no indication that the National Institute of Health's Dr. Anthony Fauci has discussed these studies in public, indicating no correlation between the use of N95 masks and decreased coronavirus or influenza infection for the wearer. In fact, some research indicates that the masks could be harmful if worn for long stretches of time.
And as you know, masks cause problems too.
Swan noted studies by researchers in Japan in 2009, as well as British, US, and international studies conducted in 2010, a macro study from 2011 covering coronaviruses and influenza, a study from 2016, an Oxford publication from 2017, and another meta-analysis conducted in 2019 and published in 2020. And despite the fact that Twitter burnouts savaged Trump for telling Wallace,
and as you know, masks cause problems too.
Mr. Trump is perfectly in line with the Japanese researchers who said, and I quote, subjects in the mask group were significantly more likely to experience headache during the study period. End quote. Now, if I can report this information, if Ben Swan can supply this to his viewers, one might think that Mr. Wallace would be able to do so as well. Instead, he seems more in line with Joe Biden, who claimed he would mandate masks. And of course, he's in line with the Twitter mob, and even with the pop minds at the BBC, who also appeared stunned that Trump would not mandate masks. In their sickening July 18th tweet, Auntie Beeb actually wrote, quote, Trump refuses to order Americans to wear masks, which, as Wallace's line of questioning and his setup with Bear reflected, implies that Trump has such power, which he does not. And it implies that somehow Trump is reticent in not mandating that people live the way that perhaps Wallace or the BBC want them to live. You know, this kind of manipulative and erroneous so-called reporting is actually quite beneath contempt. And you can tell Fox News Sunday what you think of Wallace's slips and of Ingram's correct take by contacting them on Twitter. The show's Twitter handle for Fox News Sunday is @Fox News Sunday. You can find them easily, and who knows? Perhaps Chris Wallace will agree to sit down to an interview with you or agree to go back to school to learn more about the Constitution. Hey, thanks so much for being with us here at MRC TV. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe. We say it all the time. Hope you've done so, and I hope you'll share these with some friends. Head over to MRCTV.org to find out the panoply of what everybody is doing over there. Don't forget, if you want some great MRC items, go to MRC-store. We'll see you all over social media, and I'll see you in the comments. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.